Hi Legion, John Hittler, co-founder of Evoking Genius and co-creator of the Genius Discovery Process with another edition of Pure Genius. Hey, how do you get the best out of your hourly and salaried employees? How do you get your best out of your team? How do you get them to be ambitious, self-directed, self-responsible? Well, a client of ours in Henderson, Nevada, an entrepreneur, gave us an absolutely great way to do it, and we are shamelessly copying it as if it's our own idea. You good with that? No problem. That's what we're going to take on today. I coach CEOs, entrepreneurs, team leaders, and individuals, and the whole idea is to create lasting behavior change by making transformation safer and more attractive than standing still. Today what we promise is we're going to give you 2 simple techniques to transform the performance, especially of your hourly employees, but your salaried employees as well. You want to play? Great. Let's spin the big wheel. So a shout out to a client, his name's Josh, he's in Henderson, Nevada. He gave me this last week, and so I'm shamelessly copywriting it and as if it's my own idea. You good with that? Okay, I thought you would be. Here's one of the ideas is mine, the other one is his, but in combination they're great. Here they are, 2 of them to transform the performance of your hourly and salaried employees. So the first one is, and we tell people this all the time, especially in HR, I said it seems simple enough, but it's not done well, is hire well, especially millennials. So with all due respect to millennials, you've been described as the crybaby generation. Oh, it's a terrible stereotype, but it's generally true. So we don't mean any disrespect, because there are some millennials that are incredibly gifted and entrepreneurial and hardworking and whatnot. But if you hire well, and you better, because by 2050, 1 in 2 employees in the workplace will be a millennial. So how do you hire self-motivated, ambitious, hardworking, self-responsible millennials? Here's how. One key question in the interview process that weeds out the good ones from the bad ones goes something like this. Hey John, tell us about your last great volunteer experience. Is this a volunteer position? I thought this was a paid position. If they give you an answer like that, what they're telling you in code is, I've never done a darn thing for anybody unless I was paid in my entire life. I only will do things for people if they pay me. You don't want that person in your organization. Not at all. Now, here's another version of it. Oh, well, in order to graduate from fill in the blank, we were required to do volunteer service, and I did this. Okay, but not great. Because what they're also telling you is the same version. They didn't get paid for it, but they weren't allowed to graduate, either from college or from high school, if they didn't do their required volunteer, or as they call it, community service hours. Not great. Now, if they give you an answer like, oh, well, I've got an older brother and sister-in-law, and you know what, they got 2 little kids, and about once a month I just go over there and say, hey, you guys need a break, why don't you go over on date night? Totally acceptable answer. What they're telling you is, I have a ethic in my life about taking care of others, and I don't have to be paid for it. The best answer is when they actually do volunteer service. Like they have an ethic to serve others. Something like, twice a month we go down, there's a homeless, like a shelter in our area, and we go down with music and food and levity. We hand out toiletries and basic hugs, and we bring some good spirit to people who are less fortunate. You go, that's a person I want in my organization. Because what they're telling me is, I serve others as part of my ethic and core values in life. Fabulous to have those people in your organization. Now I can tell you they're like 1 in 30. So if you have to interview 30 people to find somebody with that ethic, you never have to manage them again. That's the first trick. That one's mine, so I will take credit for that because I actually do have that one. I'll give you the second one though. This one comes from our client, our entrepreneurial client, fabulous guys in Henderson, Nevada. Here's what he did with his hourly employee. He runs a chain or a chain of health and fitness outlets. And of course it's young people, they're good looking, they're healthy, they do all kinds of stuff. They like what they do or they wouldn't be in that industry. He's got one lady, her name's Amy, and she's kind of a jack of all trades. She does some computer stuff, she does some admin stuff, she does some front desk stuff. She does do some client-facing things like personal training. $9.60 an hour employee, as he's got a lot of them. He's got a lot of hourly employees. And he sat her down and said, Amy, we really like you, you're doing a good job. You know what? I got a question for you. This was her annual review. If we paid you $12 an hour instead of $9.60, what else would you take on if we raised you to $12 an hour? You know what? It was a trick question, but a brilliant question. Here's what Amy did. She outed herself. Fabulous. What she said was exactly that. She said, well, I'd probably start showing up every day on time. What? What does showing up on time have to do with how we pay you? But that's what she said. She said, if you paid me more, I'd be a little more serious and I'd actually show up on time. Crazy, but that's what she said. She also said, you know what? I'd stop calling in sick when I'm really not. Hysterical, but revealing. What she did was she outed herself and made a list for herself and, of course, for the owner, the entrepreneur, of all the things she wasn't doing because she didn't feel she was being paid enough. Crazy, but that's the way she did it. He didn't budge. Good for him that he kept a poker face. Well, so she listed several of these things. And they said, well, what if we paid you $15 an hour? What would you do that you're not doing now? She listed more. She listed things that she knows about the organization that she could be doing with her skill set and her ambition that she's not because they're not paying her. Now, shame on her for not having a service mentality, but she gave him a list of all the things she could be doing and then told him, if you pay me more, I'd actually do those. Crazy. Crazy, but that's what she did. Then he asked her one last time, what if I paid you $20 an hour? What would you be doing that you're not now? And again, she added to the list. Now, shockingly, this is when the poker game ended. And he said, great, Amy, you're doing a good job. Now I think you know what you need to do to get your next raise. Brilliant? It was fabulously simple. And she created the list. Now here's what happens. It's self-selection. If she wants to be ambitious and earn her next raise, she just invented all the things that she could and should be doing to make the organization and her position more valuable. And if she doesn't feel like doing it, she won't progress. And chances are she'll quit in 6 months because she'll say, gosh, I'm only being paid $9.60 an hour and they didn't give me a raise. Well, she set it up. She created the next level of performance for herself. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, because it all requires self-responsibility and ambition. You get it? You can do this too. Whether it's a $40,000 or a $50,000 employee, the question's the same. You say, if you're $50,000 a year, you say, Phil, what would you do if we paid you 70 grand a year? And he'll come up with the list. Then you just let him know. Good. Now you know what you need to do to get to your next raise. You're not promising him 70 grand a year. You just say, when you are more valuable, we'll pay you more. And he even knows what it is, or she even knows what it is. Brilliant, entrepreneurial, clever, and just so you know, ethically or unethically, I'm claiming it as my own value with Josh's full knowledge and permission. Well, here's what I know about you. You're striving, you're growing, you're making your team better every day. This is a simple, brilliant technique from one of our clients. Use it with our full knowledge and permission and make your team great. We know that's what you're up to or you wouldn't be watching. So my hat's off to you. If this was helpful, or even if it was fun, like and share this with your network. They'll be happy that you did. Until we meet on Pure Genius again, all the best.